Hey, hello, welcome back, and thanks for joining me for another model build video. This time I'm doing the little Razor Crest from Bandai, little teeny guy. I think it's supposed to be 1/44th scale, though I think it's smaller than that. This is the silver coating version, so I don't really have to do a whole lot of painting other than just weathering. But here we have the kit here. You can see how big this guy is compared to my hand. It's a very small kit, but again, as with all Bandai kits, is very nicely detailed. You got your engines here. I'm going to drill out the holes for the lighting. We got some guns here. On the other sprues, we have the bottom of the ship, we have the cockpit, and we got the sides. It also comes with some stickers, not decals, but actual stickers, which is kind of lame, but I'll be painting anyway. But I'm planning on drilling out holes in these engines so that I can light it up. And cutting around the edges here of those little areas to light the whole engine up on both sides. So I've removed all the pieces from the sprues, as you can see here. So I'm just going to go ahead and start putting some of this together. I'm going to start with the guns here. Guns are just two pieces for each side, and the pieces just snap together like so. And then we have the other gun here with the two pieces. Then we've got the two sides of the ship, which just, again, snap together like so. And then you have the bottom portion, which just goes onto the bottom. And I'll end up taking this apart again, but just showing you how the kit goes together. Here we have the bottom half of the top, and it fits nice and snug and tight like all Bandai kits. And the hole here is where I'm going to run wires up through the top so that I can light the engines. And I'll be running wires out either side to go to the engines on both sides. Then there's this little piece here that goes in the back. It's just some extra detail that goes in the very back tail. Fits between the two halves of the top portion. And then we have, of course, the cockpit, which just goes right onto the front. Then we've got the two guns, which just fit onto either side here like so. And then we've got the top half, oops, backwards. We've got the top half that will just fit on top and mostly finish it up. But before I do any more, I need to work on getting this ready for lighting the engines. So this hole here, I'm going to have tubing running into there. It comes with this little base, which I'm not going to use, so I'm going to use some tubing so that I can have wire running through the tubing to go inside here. And I'm going to have to drill through here through the main body and have it come out the sides so that I can pull the wires through the top to go to either side for the engines. And then the top half will just fit right over it, and the wires will run out to the sides to the engines, and I'll have a little hole with the wires running out, and I'll have to do some little trenches on the sides for the wires to go out to the engines. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with a small little drill bit just to get a hole started, and once I get the hole through there, I'm going to increase and use a larger diameter bit to make a larger hole. And I've done that now. You can see the hole there, and it does come all the way through the top like you can see right there. I do also need to drill out through this little hole on this bottom plate, so I'm just going to do that with an X-Acto blade and just push it in here and make a hole the full diameter of that post. And you can see the hole there. So moving on to the engines, we got the two halves here which fit together like so. I need to do a hole through the top portion where the engine is going to attach. Here's the engine that'll go on this side. So I need to put a hole through here for the LEDs to come through, and then they're going to come through on the side here where it attaches to the ship body. So I've gone and I've drilled out a hole. I don't know if that's going to be enough or not. I might end up removing the entire post, and I've trenched out here, you can see, for the wires to come through for the LEDs, and they'll run through that trench and then go into the body of the Razor Crest. So with the engine here, I'm going to start with a bit and just do the very center of the engine, drill out the hole there. That one's pretty easy one to do right off the bat, and you can see here that I've drilled out that hole. Then I'm going to move on and take a 1/2 millimeter drill bit. I think it's 1/2 millimeter, I'm not positive, and I'm going to start drilling out all the little teeny holes around the inside. It's a 78, I'm not sure what that equates to, but I think it's around a 1/2 millimeter. But anyway, going around the entire thing, and I've drilled out all the holes around the inside portion here. And you can see through there, and you can see all the holes that I've drilled out. And then finally, I'm going to work on these sides, these little areas around the side. And I'm going to start by drilling some holes and then finish it off with the X-Acto blade. But this ring in the center here is also an issue, so the light won't hit those areas that I'm going to cut out with that ring. So I'm going to cut off this entire post, and I'm going to have to remove the inside of the engine. And I'm going to remove this whole piece right in here so that it'll just fit flush against the rest of the engine. So I'm just going to pull all this stuff off here on the inside. And then I'm going to cut away as much excess as I can and make it as flush as possible, because I want to be able to get plenty of light inside here to light up the engines all the way around and make it nice and even lighting. And you can see I've cut away on the inside. It's not pretty, but nobody sees the inside. And now it's time for me to start cutting out these outer pieces on the engine. So again, I'm going to start out with the drill bit, drill some holes, and then once I get these holes going, I'm going to come through with the blade, an X-Acto blade, and I'm going to cut away the excess inside there and trim it up and make it as clean as possible. So I'm just going to take my blade and start lightly trimming away whatever's hanging out in there after drilling out the holes. And you can see now I've cut all of those out, and they're all pretty clean. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut away the post on the engines here where the rear attaches, and I've got that removed now, as you can see. And then this will just fit right on top, and I'll just put glue all around to secure it, since I don't have the post for it to attach, and the LEDs will be inside shining through the holes. So these are the LEDs I'm using. They're flickering Pico LEDs. They're yellow. You can see how small these guys are. And let me pull one aside here and turn it on, and you can see the yellowing flicker of the LED. And then here's kind of how it's going to look through the engines. So moving on to the next portion, I need to deal with these stickers. I do not want to use them, so I'm going to take these stickers and use them as a template to do my painting. So I've taken the sticker off and put it onto a piece of Tamiya tape, and I'm just going to take my blade here and basically trace around it and cut into the tape and make a mask that I'll put on to the ship. And I've gone and I've cut all around, and then I just need to remove these portions here. And I'm just going to continue to go around till I get the entire thing removed from the tape. And then I just put the tape onto the side of the ship, and there is a mask for my airbrushing. And I've got both sides now masked, ready to be painted. Then I'm going to take my mask oil, which is a liquid latex, and I'm just going to get a little bit on the tip of this needle here, and I'm just going to start adding some areas inside this mask that will be chipped areas where the paint has been chipped away and, you know, falling away. And there, this side is completed, and this side is a lot heavier weathering, just like the sticker they had, so I did a lot heavier weathering on that side. And now it's time for me to airbrush this. I have some Viejo yellow paint with just a dab of some Tamiya wooden deck tan, just to make it not such a bright yellow, tone it down a little bit. I'm just going to paint the entire thing here and go ahead and remove my masking tape, and you can already see the paint there. And then with all the tape removed, I'm just going to go ahead and rub away the excess of the liquid latex, which will remove the paint there and make all the paint chipping. And you've got nice weathered, chipped away paint job on the side of the ship there. And I'll do the same to the other side, which again will be a lot heavier. You'll notice as I rub it all away, it's very heavy weathering and chipping on this side of the ship. For the cockpit, I am going to actually use the stickers that it comes with. Since it's black and it's an indentation where the windows are, the stickers will be nice and clean, fine lines. So I'm going to go ahead and use the stickers in this portion. I don't think it's really going to be that much of a deal. You can see them in position here, and then I put the nose on, and there you have the stickers for the cockpit. So now I'm going to start going over the entire body with a German gray wash, filling in all the panel lines, all the recesses and everything from all the parts of the ship, and I'm just going to go over the entire body. And then as I go over the body and it dries, then I'll start rubbing away with some Q-tips or some cotton swabs and rub away the excess, leaving the German gray inside all the recesses and panel lines. And I'm just going to keep going over this until I'm pleased with the results. And this is what I've got. Everything really pops and stands out nice now. All around the entire ship you can really see the panel lines, and on the top especially you can see all the greeblies and all the deep recesses. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of this Viejo environment also. It's streaking grime. I'm going to add a little bit of streaking grime on areas of the ship. I'm going to do a little bit on the sides, like stuff has dripped down the side from being on, you know, different planets and different weather environments. I'm also even going to dab some of it around different areas up top around greeblies, just to add some color and depth and just make it look a little more weathered. And now it's time to weather the engines. I want to do this before I put them on so I don't get any paint inside the LEDs. So again, using my German gray wash, I've weathered the inside of this one. You can see the difference from the unweathered one. And I've also weathered the outside here, where the other one you can see there's no weathering. But I'm going to continue and finish them both. For the base, I have this plastic case. This was kind of like a little jewelry box. It had a lid that opened up. I cut away some excess and sanded around the edges here to make it nice and clean. I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole through the center for my tubing, which will go into the bottom of the Razor Crest, and it'll just sit on top of the base like so. Like I've done with a lot of my other models, so that wires can run through. I have a USB port in the back here. I have this little USB power board which will fit right in the back, so I'll have to cut out a portion in the back for that. So I've gone and I've drilled out a hole for my tubing, so the tubing will run, and here's a little area I cut out for the USB board here. You can see that fits in there nice, and then the USB can just plug right into that. So I painted this with Tamiya Fine Gray primer, And then I've gone and finished it off with a coat of Army Painter Matte Black Primer. There's my hole for the tubing. And I'm going to go ahead at this point and put a big glob of hot glue down here, and then I'm just going to take my USB power board and press it into the hot glue and hold it into position until it dries. So here's my board. Just going to drop it in here and hold it in position where I want it. Now I'm going to take a little bit of extra hot glue and just run over the top and sides and just secure this down. Because of putting a plug in and out, I want to make sure it doesn't come loose, that it's in there nice and tight. So there is the plug all glued in place, and I can just take a USB cable and plug it right in there, and it's tight, nothing moves, it's nice and snug. So I got my copper tubing here. Not sure what size it is. It was loose tubing I have. But I have hot glued that into the bottom of the base here, as you can see. And then I've painted the top of it black. And then I've got my LEDs here, which I'm going to start to run. And I'm just going to take them and I'm going to push them through the bottom of the tubing here. And get them going through. And then I'm just going to pull them out through the top of the tubing, so that they can go into the inside of the model. So with the wires through here, I've got the bottom part of the Razor Crest, and I'm going to go ahead and run these LEDs through the hole that I drilled in the bottom of the Razor Crest. That's the portion that will sit right on top of the tubing here. Then I'm going to go ahead and run them through the hole that goes through the body. And then with those run through the body, I'm going to go ahead and put the other half of the body back together, like so. And then put the bottom, attach the bottom so it rests on the tubing. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the lower portion of the top. I'm going to take the LEDs and run them through the holes that I have drilled in the lower portion of the top. And I've got that one side run through, and there's the other side. And then I'm just going to push this onto the main body. And then I've taped the wires down to hold them in place, have little trenches on the sides with the wires coming out. And I'm going to go ahead and put the top portion on now. And I have gone and I have soldered the grounds to the ground and the hot to the hot of my USB board, and I've hot glued the resistors down. And I'm going to go ahead and do a test here to make sure my LEDs are still working before I finish this thing up. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in a USB, and boom, all four of them light up and are flickering. So I've gone and run them through the engine. You can see them sticking out the holes here. Just went inside the little trench. I have now taken some little dab of hot glue to hold the LEDs in place so they don't move around. And if I just take the ends of the engines here and put them in place, I can fire it up and you can see how it looks right there. A little harsh to me, so I have some tissue paper. This is actual like wrapping tissue paper that you put in presents. I'm going to go ahead and put these engine cones on here. I'm going to go ahead and trace them out onto this tissue paper, and then what I'm going to do is, after I have them traced out, I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. And I've got them cut out now, and I'm going to take this tissue paper and just put it on the inside of the engine cones here to diffuse the light so it's not quite as harsh. Push that in place. And I have both of them actually with the dab of glue held in place. And here's how it looks with the diffused light now. And actually here's how they look side by side. Upper is raw light, bottom is diffused, and I just like the diffused light better. So with that done, I'm going to go ahead and do a ring of glue around the outer edge here. And then I'm going to take the engine cone and just drop it in place and hold it into position. Make sure it's nice and tight so I don't get any light leaks. And now I just need to finish weathering the engines on either side, since I haven't done those yet. Same thing, I'm going to use the German gray wash and weather those up, and I've got those done here. And I'm going to do a little bit of pastel weathering on the engines, the very back of them, with some blue steel, oil stains and such. Weather those up, and then I'm ready to reveal the final finished model. Hey, if you like watching my videos, please feel free to give them a like. And so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos, click subscribe.